The Spurs are the most winning franchise in NBA history. They had 18 years of winning at least 50 games, and they made the playoffs for 22 straight years. So it's crazy to see that they have been a lottery team for the past 2 years. A team that was once a shining example of success finally is dealing with adversity and the process of rebuilding. So the only question to answer now is, where do they go from here? But before I get into that, do your boy a solid and hit that like button, as well as subscribe to the channel, as your support will be much appreciated. And with that out of the way, drop the intro. So, quick recap on the Spurs season. They finished with a record of 33 and 39. They were 21st in offensive rating and 17th in defensive rating. The Spurs are in a tough situation, not because they're a bad team, but because they're a mediocre one. Like, they're a team who is barely missing the playoffs. And they have a lot of good young players such as DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Lonnie Walker, and Keldon Johnson, as well as Devin Vassell. And they're also getting major contributions from their veterans such as DeMar DeRozan, and you can put Derek White there if you would like. But the thing about them is that I don't really see star potential from any of the young guys. Like, I believe that Devin Vassell, DeJounte Murray, and Keldon Johnson could be star role players or high-end starters, but I think that expectations outside of being star role players or high-level starters is kind of outrageous. I don't really see that in them. No offense to them, they could be that, they could prove me wrong, but I think it's unrealistic. And they can really use that guy with a takeover mentality that I'm a star, give me the ball when things ain't working, when the plays aren't doing what they're supposed to do, give me the ball, let me take over and do my thing. They can really use that kind of guy. It would have been perfect if they would have got like a top 3 pick and they could have ended up with Cade Cunningham or Jalen Green or even Evan Mobley. If they could have just ended up with a guy who can like give me the ball, I'm gonna make something happen, I'm gonna make something work, that would have been perfect for them. But unfortunately, they were unable to get that kind of guy for their team, and I think that hurts them in the long run. Another major question that needs to be answered for the Spurs is, should Popovich return as head coach, or should he go into more of an advisor role, kind of play on the sidelines, do something else besides actually being the head coach of the team? See, Popovich is one of the greatest coaches in sports history. If he was to return, they would definitely beat the record for most wins for an NBA coach. But at this point, the Spurs are looking like a team that needs to rebuild, and as good as Popovich is at relating to his players and making meaningful connections, he shouldn't have to deal with the stress of a rebuild, and I believe that the Spurs are entering a new era, so it might be time to let someone else take over for the legendary coach. And that's no, knock to Popovich. I think he's one of the greatest coaches. Again, I'm gonna keep stating that. I'm not saying that he's a bad coach and they should fire him because he's not doing his job. I'm just saying, for the betterment of the team and for the betterment of Pops, go ahead and let him, stand in some kind of advisor role. Let him do what Jerry West do. Popovich used to be the GM of the team, and he stood down from the GM to become the coach, and he did a great job at coaching. And, all good things must come to an end. So, Pop's time might just be at the end. He's still a great coach. He's still doing what his things are doing, but the eras have changed and the players are changing. And with this all going on, even if Popovich is great at what he does, he might just need to take a seat back, let somebody else come in there, and let some younger people come in there and, connect with these new age players and let them be in a rebuild situation so we don't tarnish Pop's reputation. Like, I really like Pops. I don't really want his, reputation tarnished or anything. So for the betterment of the team and for the betterment of him, again, I would highly consider, the future of Pops, and should we let him return to the team this year? If I'm the Spurs, that's what I'm doing. Now, some adjustments that the Spurs could make as a team and things that they should consider doing is they should consider a potential DeMar DeRozan sign and trade. Now, DeMar DeRozan, kind of like Colin Sexton, as you remember my Cavs video, I talked about Colin Sexton and why I believe it's so hard to trade Colin Sexton. The same applies to DeMar DeRozan, but in a different way. Colin Sexton is like, he's only 6'1". DeMar DeRozan is 6'6", 6'7". He's a tall dude. He's a decent defender. He's not a great one, but he's about average now. And he's a really good playmaker, and he can score the ball, and he's a pretty decent ball handler. So he has things that make him valuable. But what makes DeMar DeRozan so tough is that he's such a bad shooter. He is so old school. His style of play is mid-range and to the rim. He doesn't take threes, and when he takes them, he, for the most part, doesn't hit them. He's even a pretty decent free throw shooter. It's mostly just his three-point shooting. And since he can't hit the three-pointer, he can't play off the ball that well. When you can't, hit threes, your off-ball is limited. So what DeMar DeRozan provides is just inside scoring and mid-range shooting. And yeah, that's great. He does it at a high level. he plays like an all-star some of these seasons. He played like an all-star this year, and his playmaking has such a great improvement. But since he can't shoot, it's like, dang, we don't want you on the ball all the time. It's like, I was like, maybe there's a potential sign and trade there for the Mavericks. And I'm thinking, nah, because Luka really doesn't want to play off ball like that. And, you know, Mavericks probably believe it's best to keep the ball in Luka's hand. But if you have DeMar DeRozan's going to need to play off ball if Luka got the ball, and that's just not going to work because DeMar DeRozan can't shoot. So he's going to be in a situation where he's constantly cutting and trying to get to the basket. But when the playoffs come around, they're probably going to build walls up there, and this is going to be all bad. So I really don't know if that's going to work. So that was the first one I thought of. And I'm like, maybe the Magic. I'm like, nah, Magic can't do it either. I mean, nobody on the Magic can really shoot besides Terrence Ross. They have no shooting whatsoever, so they really can't do it. I was thinking maybe the Nuggets, and I'm like, but what would the Nuggets give up? Who can they provide to us that will be worthy of giving them DeMar DeRozan? I mean, it could be a signed trade, and anything will be better than nothing. But, you know, on top of that, he can't shoot, and they need some shooting themselves. I mean, they got a lot of shooting. They can get it from Nikola Jokic, so maybe the Nuggets can consider this, but it's not even perfect for them. And just kind of thinking of all these things, like maybe the Lakers, but then LeBron and AD do most of their damage in the paint, but, you know, they kind of always find a way to manage it, so maybe they can work. You know, they have Rondo, but at least Rondo can hit it at the consistent basis at this point in his career. So I mean, I'm just trying to think of teams that can really use a DeMar DeRozan and who can really benefit from having that. I mean, my Bulls may be able to get him, run him at our point guard, because again, his playmaking and stuff is really improved, and we have enough shooting depth that we could probably shoulder the load of him not being able to shoot. It has to be a team that can, you know, shoulder the pain of somebody not being able to shoot. And maybe the Pacers can do that, but they already got Caris LeVert, so I don't see them making that trade. But yeah, finding a sign and trade for him was tough. That's why I didn't make any, you know, good ones. Like, I didn't list any ones in the video. I'm just giving some considerations to teams and what they could potentially do. I don't know if some of these teams have what it takes to get him, but the team will need to have a lot of shooting, and that's what makes him so difficult to project, like, what his value is. Even though he's a really good player, what is his true value, since we already know his limitations are so drastic and they really hurt. So that's the reason why I didn't give y'all, again, no definite sign and trades or some real example, just some teams that can consider maybe making a move for DeMar DeRozan. Now, going on from, you know, adjustments and trades and thinking about DeMar DeRozan, we're going to also talk about another player that the Spurs could consider if they're trying to continue the strategy of winning now and getting later lottery picks, and they got some money to spend, so they could probably make this trade happen, and they don't even have to max salaries, I believe, because they're going to be under the cap. They're going to have some free agency money to work with. And the one they could consider is a Portland Trailblazers sign and trade for CJ McCollum. I don't know if the Trailblazers want to mix it up that way. You know, he can have Dame play a little bit more off ball. His shooting spectacular. The Spurs in return will get CJ McCollum, and the Blazers will end up with DeMar DeRozan. So that's another one that could be, you know, that could happen. I don't know if that really could happen, but that's one that I might be able to see. Like, that's something that might work for them. You know, they just go in a different direction, but Dame looks like he's on his way out. The reports have been there. We don't really know because Dame hasn't really spoke up or requested anything. And, you know, he said he wants to stay there for the rest of his life. So we'll really see about that. All right, moving on, let's talk about the draft. Now, the Spurs ended up with the 12th pick. And since the Spurs ended up with the 12th pick, they're getting end of lottery talent. But this draft is so deep. So there's so many good options for them at the end of the draft that it doesn't even matter. There's going to be a lottery talent that goes 15, 16, 17, 18 in the draft. That's how good these players are. This draft is deep in my opinion. And the player that I really have the Spurs taking is Franz Wagner if he's available. Franz is just, you know, again, he's not really perfect for them because he's just another one of those guys who has star role player potential, but he's not really a true star. He's not a star in the traditional sense. And again, it'll be really nice if the Spurs can get a guy in the traditional sense, but at this end of the draft, you're probably not going to be able to find that guy yet again, unless you draft Alperen Sengun, but I'm not even sure he's going to be available. His stock is all over the place, and, you know, teams that haven't watched him, so they're not 100% confident in him. But if you watch the tape, he just looks so good, so smooth. Again, he reminds me of Domantas Sabonis, but more athletic. I mean, he's still a drop cover center and everything because he doesn't move his feet quick laterally. Like, he's not like, you know, guarding the perimeter or anything. He's still a drop back, but he's more athletic. He can get up, touch the rim, block some shots. He's more athletic than Domantas Sabonis, and that's what he kind of reminds me of. Another guy they consider he should be towards the end of the draft, unless the recent reports are true, James Bouknight. Hopefully, if he's available, he'll be perfect. Another 3-level scorer. Again, not a playmaker or anything, but he got that kind of takeover mentality, so he might also fit in what y'all need. But the most important guy, I would say, if the draft lands the way I believe it could land for him, he's not going to be available here. But if he's available here at number 12, the Spurs should take Josh Giddey. And I'm having Josh Giddey go number 6 to the Oklahoma City Thunder. No one really sees it, and everybody believes it's going to be Scotty Barnes, but y'all know my opinion. If I watch my previous videos, I really don't believe in Scotty Barnes that much, and I would not take him number 6 if I was the Oklahoma City Thunder. But if Josh Giddey's available at 12, take him. He's gonna be the steal of the draft. I have big vibes that Josh Giddey is just that dude. He's gonna just work out in the NBA. Something just tells me he's 6'8". He kind of reminds me of LaMelo Ball. That's who I would, that's what I would compare him to. Like, he's like a poor man's LaMelo Ball, and I really, really like Josh Giddey. I'm taking him. So those are some realistic options for them in the draft. If they're going, with some things in the draft, those are the people that they should consider taking in this draft. And in free agency, again, if you cannot find a sign and trade for DeMar DeRozan, re-sign him. Just re-sign him. There's no point in losing him for nothing because he's a really good player. You re-sign him and you find a trade later on down the line if you need to. But sign him, make sure you get some value out of him. Try to convince him to come back. And if you trade him later down the line, that's perfect. But don't let him go for nothing. Because again, y'all ain't getting no free agents. There are star free agents. That just really doesn't happen. And if you re-sign him, you could potentially get a star. And I'm gonna mention that star right now, Kyle Lowry. If you re-sign DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry is a free agent. Y'all got money. It's possible y'all can convince Kyle Lowry to come and join the Spurs. And the only reason y'all can do that is because y'all have DeMar DeRozan because they're good friends. Maybe he wants to go play with his boy again. Comes over here, he's later in his career. Like, you know what? I'll join the Spurs organization. Him and DeMar go back to old days in Toronto. Maybe I'll make the playoffs with those two. It might actually work. They have, chemistry of playing with each other. Popovich is a better coach than Dwayne Casey. Probably get more out of the two. So that's another option for you. You can have, DeJounte Murray, he's still there. And, Kyle Lowry can shoot enough that it can kind of relieve some of the pressure off DeJounte Murray and DeMar DeRozan, those boys. So, yeah, I would also consider signing Kyle Lowry. If you would like to come there, sign him. Re-sign Gorgie Dang will be another thing I would suggest. He's a really good center. I know his contract wasn't ideal when he was in Memphis, but Memphis letting him go for nothing was quite surprising. It's not like he's terrible. He's perfect as a backup center. He can space the floor and really knock down some shots. So, Gorgie Dang, average defender, really good shooter, stretch 5, re-sign him. He probably won't cost you more than $8 million a year at this point. He's not gonna be like the 16, 17 million he was making over there in Memphis. So I would definitely consider re-signing him. Other guys that y'all can consider going after, I would say, is Cameron Payne. He's a free agent. Dennis Smith Jr., he's a free agent. Maybe these guys would like to come there, join the team, and be the guy for the team. As Cameron Payne's had one fantastic playoff run. The Phoenix Suns ain't gonna let him go very easy, so trying to pry him away from the Suns is gonna be very difficult. But if y'all can do it, go ahead and try to do it. And Dennis Smith Jr., the main reason why I say take a chance on Dennis Smith Jr. is because of Coach Popovich. Popovich is a good coach if he stays there, and even the guys under him, they probably have a way to revive him in the career of Dennis Smith Jr. If you can revive him and get him back on track to where he once was, then maybe, just maybe, y'all can have a future star. Again, DSJ has not been proving himself over the last few years. He's been in the rut, but he could be the next Chauncey Billups story. So I will take a chance on him, just saying. And that's kind of going to break off everything I need to say about the Spurs. Again, just a great organization. It's quite surprising to see that they're here and that they're in this position, but, really good organization. Again, and if you've made it this far into the video, do your boys solid, hit that like button, subscribe. I actually just hit 100 subscribers the other day. So now I'm on the road to 500 subscribers. Help your boy get there. Let's see if we can get there by the end of the year. I know it's a tough goal, but it's my goal and I want to make it. So go ahead and help me. And until my next video, peace.